The worst slot to talk is normally after lunch when people have eaten, so now you're eating, and it's a dry subject, so hopefully I'll try and keep you awake for the next 15-20 minutes, but no warranty. I think it just clicked as well. So, I came from a corporate background before I joined Virtue, and when I was delivering IT in a corporation, I spent half the time talking about IT, and the other half of the time talking about lots of other stuff. Things like succession planning and KPIs and risk management and asset management. All these things are things that IT managers get into, but not necessarily, doesn't necessarily mean delivering IT on a day-to-day basis. Now, what I've seen in the last couple of years is our IT managers in schools are starting to talk about some of these things. And specifically, they're starting to talk about these things. KPIs and reporting, disaster recovery, governance, risk management, continuous improvement, as well as when it starts to get into maths, things like financial planning and 3 to 5 year financial plans. So what I want to do today is just talk through a few of these ones that are highlighted in this sort of yellowy colour, and just sort of inform you as to the services we can offer in Virtue, and also I think some of the things that if you're not thinking about already, and some of you will be, you might want to start thinking about. So, IT strategy. Ofsted, there's two documents that Ofsted really like to see when you come into schools. You know this already, I don't need to tell you. A strategy is one of them. And a lot of the other managers, a lot of the IT organisations in schools are starting now to have IT strategies. But the key thing about IT strategy is it linked to the school strategy? Traditionally, IT people, and I've been there myself, we look at technology and we go, wouldn't it be great if I just bought that technology and deployed it, because I think it'd be great. But me thinking that by myself, without engaging the school or without engaging the business I'm working for, and thinking about what value it's going to give to that organisation may not be the best decision. So having a joined up IT strategy that integrates into the school strategy is absolutely fundamental. I said there, strategies do need to support improved teaching and learning, and the best way to deliver a strategy, I find, is to break it down into small chunks. They each deliver a value on their own, but collectively they build that strategy with the school. The best way to link the IT organisation to the leadership of the school, to get everything right, is governance. And I'm sure you guys have got some of this in place already. And Ofsted, in their grade descriptors, they do say that, there's a quote, ICT has a very high profile in the life of schools, and it's at the cutting edge of innovative initiatives to raise pupil progress. That's the key thing, the very last few words, raise pupil progress. And if IT are doing things by themselves, without that linkage into the school strategy, then they may not be hitting the pupils, which is where the value is. So, easiest way to think about getting a governance structure, if you've not already got one, and I know some schools have got this, and it works really well, is some kind of IT steering group. IT sit on that group, don't necessarily run it. In some schools I've seen the IT manager run some kind of steering group. In others I've seen the business manager do it, and the IT people join it. It's great to have teachers in there, subject curriculum leaders, some head teachers, maybe heads of year. But it links ICT to the wider school. It gets them involved in that school debate, which I think is really important. It drives ICT, gives them direction. It lets the IT guys have a focus to talk to, and it gives them direction in terms of where they take IT. It lets them understand the wider issues across the school without talking to individuals and getting maybe broken stories. And this steering group, I've seen it in many forms. The best ones I've seen, they kind of own all the projects. Every piece of development IT does gets approved by this group. It may not get delivered by IT, it may get delivered by some curriculum teacher somewhere, but it's still owned by that group, and IT are involved in it. It can advise and help and support. Some of the core things that we may see every now and again, and I'm sure you've come across these, is where some small group of people might develop a piece of IT away from the IT team, and then they start to have problems with it, and it then becomes an IT problem, and the IT guys are a little bit, well, I'm not really sure because I wasn't involved in that. So to remove all that, best thing to do is to bring it to this kind of group, and we can help set up that group if you've already got one, but I do know that some of you guys have already got these governance groups in place. All this leads to continuous improvement, and this is the second thing, as you all know, that Ofsted want to see. They want to see continuous improvement plan for the school. IT, I think as well, one of the things that IT must have is a continuous improvement plan, ideally linked to the school's improvement plan. I know we've all got these, but what is continuous improvement? If anybody goes to look at any of these lovely IT models that are out there, FITS, ITIL, any kind of QA process, continuous improvement plans are at the core of all those. They do exist, they've got to be there to have any of these models in place. Well, continuous improvement comes from everywhere. It's not just one person going, let's do this, let's do that. It's everybody in the school is involved in continuous improvement. Ideas can come from pupils, they can come from staff, they can come from a risk register, they can come from a budget. So they really do come from everywhere. It also gives a focus, so when you agree an action that goes on there, you put some timescales against it, you put some costs against it. You might defer it for 2 years, but it might still be a good idea that you want to do in the future. But it's on your plan, it exists. It will help drive in the future the budget. And maybe even things like resource and training and skills, because to do all this, you'll need resources around you. One thing I like to use a continuous improvement plan is to look back, because when you do something that's on your plan, quite often people do stuff in IT, next year they've forgotten to do it. If you look back at a plan over a couple of years, you can see all the things you've delivered. And it can actually make you feel quite good. So it's quite motivational to have an improvement plan as well, because it really gives people to look, something to hang on to look forward, but also you look back and look at the good things you've already delivered. One place where you get improvements from is risk. And Phil just mentioned risk a few minutes ago, but we'll talk about risk a little bit more. Risks are things that might happen that can have a negative impact on ICT and the ability of the school to operate. So there's obvious risks. There's a risk that we might get a virus tomorrow. Thankfully, Sophos are here and they'll stop us getting the virus and wiping out our computers. There are other risks. You might have a power cut and lose some equipment. There are risks like our IT manager might get knocked over by a bus and then we won't be able to operate our IT. So risk management plans, quite dry, quite boring. Second only to health and safety, I think, when it comes to dryness. But risk plans can be quite good. I can't believe I said that. So I don't know how many you've got risk registers in IT. I'm sure you've all got risk registers for the school. I think that's kind of managed somewhere, isn't it? But having a risk register for IT, I think is what is quite good, and then it can link into the school risk register, because I'm pretty sure from the school risk registers I've seen in the past, there is IT statements in there. Sometimes they're really informed by the IT guys. Other times they're kind of I'm going to say a bland statement around IT might stop working one day, but it's still in those risks. So having an IT risk management plan that links into the school plan is really good. Risks can be small or massive. It could be literally a risk around a single device not working, or it could be the whole network going down and identifying those problems. A lot of people think risks are mainly operational in terms of things not working, but a lot of time risks could be financial or they could be reputational. So if you have a problem with your IT equipment that is such that, let's say for example we have a virus in the school, and that leaks out to local press. Let's say that ransomware has hit the school, press get hold of it, then people reading that newspaper will have maybe a negative impact on your reputation, because they think, well, they can't manage their own services. So having a risk register and knowing about these things and addressing them is potentially quite important, because it manages all different kinds of risks. Anything that's significant absolutely should be in the school's risk register. Every risk should have a mitigation plan. Really important. Even if you've not decided to do anything, you might have risks that you can't address. They just exist. But by the fact you've recognised them, put them on your plan, and we've said we've got to do nothing about this until XXX. I think it's quite important. And obviously, if you've got risks there, you can address them. You can have mitigation plans, and those plans can then go into your improvement plan and start to write budget to get them fixed and have projects for them. We've got templates for all this kind of stuff, and we do work with schools on risk management. So if you're interested, I'll chat with Phil or whoever, or myself later on. But some guys can do really well, other guys can do with a bit of help, and we are here. Money, budgets, financial planning. As you start to get more schools into the trust, or even if you're a school that is working with other schools, maybe not as part of the trust, there will be money concerns floating around. You've got an IT team that once was supporting one school, now supporting 5 schools. You need to think about how you recover those costs. You might have that on your cards already. You might be doing it already. I know some people are. We were working with the trust recently on helping them to bring up a model for recovering costs. And we went for looking at all their services, worked out which services were kind of core to the trust. And we pulled out the cost of those. We decided not to put headcount in, but you could put your staff resource in there as well. And then we went for a pupil allocation, so then we divided that cost up across the trust. And that's gone quite well, and that's working quite nicely. I've done this in various ways before, either a fully centralised model that's charged out, or a federated model where all the cost stays in local areas. But there's always that central little bit of cost that needs charging out, potentially, if you choose to do that. 2 types of cost. I think this is really important, because this is something really simple that's been in my head for many, many years. Maintenance costs and development costs. Some people might call it revenue costs and capital costs, but maintenance, if we decide to do nothing with IT and develop it in no way whatsoever, how much is it going to cost to run the service as it is today? And that's for me, that's the maintenance cost. If we want to start buying new services, buy some more computers, move to Office 365, put a bigger internet link in, they're all development costs. Some people would like to capitalise that, some people don't, best to get revenue, but that's something for finance people to worry about. But really, you've got maintenance costs and development costs. And development stuff can go into a plan, you mark it over 5 years, and you work out how you're going to recover it, if you're going to recover it. It's great to have a 5-year plan. Once again, we've got templates for all this kind of stuff to help IT people. Because it starts people forward planning, it starts people thinking about, oh, I'm going to buy that today, but I'm not going to refresh it in 4 years, so I'll put a number in my plan. I'll go talk to the finance director, and I'll make sure that I've got the number in the plan for the 5 years down the road. Gets people thinking about budgets for the future. Really important.
Excuse me, could you elaborate on what model will be used to recover your ICT costs?
Yes.
What do you mean by recover?
So, what I mean by recovery is, if you've got an IT team in a central part of a trust supporting 6 schools, you've got a cost of those guys. It might be £100,000, for example. Are you going to take that cost in the trust, just solely in the trust, and not charge it out? Or are you going to say to the 6 schools, we're using that service, there's £100,000 worth of costing those people, so we're going to charge you all £18,000 each, or whatever, for that service. And there's different ways of doing that. You could do it straight, well, let's say 5 schools, but it's easier. 5 schools, £20,000 each, done. Or you could say, well, actually, that's a small school, that's a bigger school, so let's break it up on head counts, or you might want to break it up on use of services, or there's a whole bunch of ways you could recover that cost. So, you know, we've got a few models on how you can do that. The other thing that we've seen quite recently, and it's something that everybody runs away from because it's not easy to think about, is disaster recovery planning. We've seen, unfortunately, quite a few disasters recently. I think the first major disaster we were involved with as a business was in St Mary's when it burnt down a few years ago now. And that was our first real engagement in disaster recovery, and that was quite horrific for the school, as you know. We quite fortunately managed to get them up and running in a small way within just a few days. We can give them access to some data. But disasters aren't always the big, clear things that you think about. You know, a school burning down, that's an absolutely clear disaster. We were engaged back in the last year with a number of schools up in the Carlisle area that were flooded. And once again, you know, when you're wading through a corridor to get to an IT room, that's a clear disaster. But then there was the secondary effects of flooding. So we had a school in Lancaster, top of a hill. They were never going to flood. But Lancaster lost power for about 2 weeks. And for them, that was a disaster. They needed access to things like SIMs. They needed access to certain services so they could contact parents and all this kind of stuff. And they couldn't do it. So disaster recovery planning takes many forms, and you've got to plan for the worst. But there are other things that can happen which are a lot smaller that you can plan for. First thing to do is identify key applications and data that you need. Understand complexity versus criticality. That sounds quite complex, but it's not. You might have a really simple system that's really easy to manage, that's really easy to deploy, that's absolutely critical. And actually, if that's the situation, that's perfect. But then you might have another system that is equally critical, but is really, really complex. And if it's really complex, that makes it difficult to recover. And you might want to start thinking about identifying those and then working with those products to try and make them simpler so in the event of a disaster, you can recover them easier. Recovery timescales, it's easy for people to say, I need everything tomorrow, because if I have a disaster, I really do need, I'm being waved at. As long as I've got 5 minutes. Okay. I'm narrating wrong. I think I'm nearly finished anyway. But I've lost my train now. So, agreed timescales. So you don't need every piece of data the week after a disaster. SIMS is going to be really important. The ability to communicate with people, email is going to be really important. Your curriculum data, you probably don't need that until you've got kids going back to school, which might be a month down the road. So agreeing those timescales in the disaster recovery plan. And once again, we've actually written a few disaster recovery plans for different schools. So we do have this templated, and we can really help you if you've not got one already. I know there's something that people worry about. But if you've not got one, please speak to us. KPIs reporting. This can be really dull. Sometimes feel threatened by KPIs, but actually I think that they can be a good thing. IT team do a lot of great stuff. It's quite often goes unheard. People don't really talk about it too much. So to get some of these things in some KPIs is quite important. It lets people, it's a way of communication. As Phil said earlier, tendency is sometimes that as you grow, as you get more schools on board, the IT people come with it as well. So publishing KPIs can be important, particularly to the SLT. They are a risk commissioning tool, and KPIs will also drive improvement because people will see them and they'll engage with IT, and then people start talking about what might be in a KPI. Maybe some stats from the help desk, tell people how many calls you've fixed that month, what's going in the service line. Maybe a bit of finance, let people see how you're doing with your finances. I'm sure your finance directors, like those at the back, will be really interested in that kind of stuff. What issues and problems you've got, really good way to flag problems that you've got if you do some kind of regular reporting. And then, of course, your achievements. This last month we did X, Y, and Z, and this is the value to be brought to the school. So KPIs, we do have, once again, we put this templated for people if anybody needs them. Quite an important thing. It is a bit of a dry subject, as I said. All these things come around. Of all those things that start, all those different concepts in IT management, I think these are the ones that we're seeing really being talked about in schools at the moment. I don't know how many you've come across. Hopefully you've sort of seen a few of them and are getting on with some of them, but these are the ones that we've started to see. And I think if you get all those things right, then you will start to move towards some kind of outstanding delivery.